Fantastic. All right. Well, welcome to another live stream match brought to you by Winging It. You're here with your commentators Chop You Up and Gruvenstein. However, we've kicked Flan out of the commentator's chair because he has hypothermia with all the hot air that's been coming out of his mouth lately. So it is just me and Groove. How you doing, Groove? He's already can't keep a straight face.
Yeah, that's good. Flan is he's got hypothermia and enough. He's powering the hot air balloon as he ascends to the heavens, which is fabulous. I'm good. I was just looking at the chat, kind of scrolling through some of the emojis, and I noticed they have two camel emojis, and one of them just says camel, and the other one says dromedary camel. And I feel like that's very specific for an emoji, but nonetheless, there it is.
I think we've both lost each other with where we're going with the starts for this, but that's okay. So we're here at the start of the final for the Alpine Swift ABCs, and we've got two opponents, GracklinOatBrant and Sim17. Sim needs absolutely no introduction, has been winning everything that's been put on lately, and has currently gone 12-1 in this tournament, only losing one game, which was right back in the play-in section, basically. In round 2 against Copdog, and that is it for the entire tournament. But Gracklin hasn't been doing too bad. Gracklin is gone 10-1 so far in this tournament and just lost one game against Epic Sax guy, who's actually been doing pretty well lately. So that's nothing to be sneezed at. But we should have a great match here, Groove, between the two.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Two very strong players. I mean, I've played them both in exhibitions and in tournaments, and I think handily, I'm sure. But you guys are asking about data for OP birds potentially on EE. I mean, I don't know. We might need a house rule on Sim where Sim just can't play any birds until the second round with all the tournaments that they've been winning. But
we'll probably still win.
Yeah, these two are great, and I have no doubt that GracklinOatBrant is gonna put up a heck of a fight, and it has certainly a great chance of winning. So I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is a best of 3. So without any further ado, because we can definitely talk a bit of smack in between sort of hands, we'll get this underway. We've already done the coin toss, and Gracklin's going to send off the invite to Sim now. But best of luck to you both, and we're just going to deafen you both so you can't hear us. Good luck.
Good luck. Have fun. Oh, I see a Phoebe.
Oh, you've seen a Phoebe already?
Jeez. Yeah, Phoebe. Right. Phoebe identified. Phoebe confirmed in the tray. Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking about these starting 5, excluding the Phoebe? What are you thinking about this to start with?
I mean, this is a pretty decent starting hand. There's going to be no shortage of food for O'Brant, and even that sparrow potentially is a good wetland or a good grassland bird, excuse me. Although I don't know that there's any kind of urgency to keep it necessarily at this point. Yes, Gracklin's problem right now is going to be the wetland, and I'm thinking that maybe they're looking at, or at least considering, hey, do I want to put this barn owl in the wetland, or are they going to grab the Phoebe and put it there? Although taking the Phoebe, wetland Phoebe almost always, suggests a full tuck. Maybe they're looking at that sparrow in the tray, but they're going to need something for their wetland, and so I imagine that's what they're trying to piece together right now.
Yeah, for sure. I probably would have done something slightly different here with the start, right? I would have taken the sapsucker like they did, and I would have taken the barn owl, because I agree with you. The barn owl can probably be that water bird, especially with the falconer, but I wouldn't have taken the woodpecker. And then I would have been trying to keep a rat, get the sapsucker down, get a rat, get the extra squiggly boy, and then when I get the barn owl down, you can pick up that hawk as your second forest bird. And then it's obviously extremely strong with that falconer as well. 6 points for 1 food. You get your second bit of forest up there, and it's kind of happy days. The woodpecker, I just don't know that it's much as it is a very good starting bird, I don't think it sort of was needed for this one.
Yeah, I think you make some good points there. I mean, the sapsucker. I'm thinking, okay, maybe are they like, well, if I can chuck the woodpecker and grab 2 rats, but then again, what would be the point of that when you could just keep the rat instead? So yeah, I'm guessing, like you're saying, it's they're probably going to go sapsucker. Grab a rodent, get the grub, and then maybe lay eggs, get the woodpecker down, take food again, and get the owl down.
Yeah.
Then, speaking of starting hands, holy moly! Look at the Sim. Look at what Sim's got over there.
I know the red start is such a nice starting bird.
Red start, swallow, bush chit. I mean, the bush chit. I don't know that the bush chit really has a place in the setup.
Yeah, I don't either. As much as it's a forest, you can play it in the water. It will limit the amount of birds you have, which will then limit what the barn swallow can actually do. I'm assuming that this is Oologists and Web Nest is the 2 bonus cards that he's got. Because see how it's 7 or 8 and then 9+? That looks like it's
9
Oologist.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're debating between that and the food web, yeah.
You've got to just take Oologist, right? It's one of the best starting bonus cards in the game.
Yeah, although, if Sim's thinking, okay, like, what if Gracklin doesn't take the Phoebe? I mean, they've got the bush tit to swallow the Phoebe. I mean, that's a incredible, like, full tuck start. And in that situation, if you do end up going full tuck, then that you're better off with the web expert, and they've already got the one bird towards it in their hand. So I wonder if Sim's kind of thinking about that.
What? I didn't even consider it. I didn't even consider that, but that's not the worst. The good thing for that as well is the end of rounds aren't horrible. Sure, you'll probably win the first one because you get a couple of water birds down. You could throw away, like, you're just going to get 0 in the second one, but you get the third one and the fourth one. Like, you will compete. So, because I'm assuming that fourth one is, cards in hand, which is so good if you're going full tuck, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's always, anytime you run a full tuck, right? You got to be kind of conscious of those EORs, because they can be tough to manage, especially if they're
if you end up going like 22-6 or 22 something like that, like it can be pretty damaging. But it doesn't look like they're doing that though, because they did keep the red start.
Let's see, is Gracklin gonna grab that Phoebe? I mean, there we go. Okay, there we good.
Go. Yep. Oh.
Oh my god.
That's called rules 17. Oof.
Yeah, that's how bad it is. It's not even rule 16. It's worse.
Yeah. Here you go, OP bird.
Wow. So now, of course, if you're Gracklin, how do you handle that Phoebe? Because you don't really want to be helping your opponent with their food gen now.
I mean, I still play the Phoebe. I don't use the Phoebe until the Raven's down. But as me and you have discussed many times, the way that I try and combat against a Raven or anything, if someone's got an excess of something, I try and continue to give them that.
Oh, sure.
So when he gets the Raven down, he's going to have a lot of food. The Phoebe doesn't matter anymore. You're getting food out there because they're already going to have an excess amount of food. So it's still actually not the worst thing. Whilst I wouldn't use it early because you don't want to help your opponent really early, especially with the Raven. Yeah. Oh, they are ditching it though. See, I don't like this. I think.
And see, that's interesting because I think if they had kept it, they could. Oh, no. I had my end of round switched. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking the second end of round was this one. I was going to say they could put that in the grassland and get the barn owl down and steal the end of round. But never mind. That's
yeah.
If you're playing the Groove puts his foot in his mouth drinking game, take a shot.
You're going to be drinking a lot. Don't play that game.
Yeah, fair.
Now, I've been seeing this a little bit lately on the server. People seeing someone pick up a Raven and thinking the game's over, and they stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I see it in the commentary. Oh, I stopped trying after round 1. You put down a Raven, or you put down a Franklin Skull. It isn't over, right? I have myself personally played with a Raven and just lost it. Whilst they have a good setup, it's not there yet. And this game can still very much go the way of Gracklin. If Gracklin makes some good moves, it's still there. And that's the difference between the really strong players and the semi-strong players, is they don't give up and they keep looking for situations in difficult situations that they can find a way to win. And that's where they win those games by 1 point that no one thought they would actually win. You just got to keep going at it. Do not just give up in these situations.
Oh, no, not at all. And I mean, honestly, I wonder if Sim is, they're thinking, okay, what are they going to do with the Swallow now, right? You still go full tuck, or are you looking grassland? And I think at this point you're probably looking, for a grassland Swallow, but I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a decision spot for them.
For sure. And Gracklin's already got a nice little roll. The barn owls already hit 1 rat. That's a good start. It's not easy to hit those roll dice predators.
No, OP barn owl. We need conspiracy time.
Tayray's probably already stopped watching. As soon as he sees a Raven, he just switches off.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, okay, the Raven, the Raven's a great bird, but you got to get other stuff around it. It's not just the Raven. Now, the reason that Sim is in such a strong position here is because of having the Swallow with it, right? I mean, that Swallow Raven in the grasslands, you're able to cycle through cards, you're gaining points, you're getting eggs and food. So you have that dream of being able to just hammer one habitat and get all the resources that you need in it while you're gaining points. So that's kind of the
but they don't have great card draw at the moment, right? They really probably shouldn't be using the bush tit at the moment in these early couple of draws, because they just want to get some cards in hand so they can do exactly what you're talking about. But at this point in time, they can't. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if they just if all they do in the wetland is just gain 2 cards and then tuck, like you say, all they've got is the 1 card.
Yep.
And Gracklin's very excited about that ferruginous hawk.
Yep.
Waving it around. Yeah. So Sim is going to be
surely Sim picks up the puffin here, right?
Yeah,
there you go.
No doubt.
Oh, see, no, I do not tuck here, because you need that card to tuck through the puffin. Tuck through the Swallow. Now you don't have anything to tuck through there.
Oh, yeah.
See, this is exactly what I'm saying. You shouldn't be using this bush tit to start off in this game, because you're losing cards for and he needs cards to be tucking through here.
Although what I wonder if Sim's going to be doing, right? Sim gets the Raven down, lays a couple eggs without cycling through the Swallow. Okay, well, there goes that idea. I was going to say maybe they're just trying to get the puffin down first, but before they take cards again, so they can get 2 without spending the egg. But
that's my point, is you want to be tucking tucking that other one through a few times.
Right.
So it just doesn't quite make sense to me.
Now see, how are we looking for Gracklin here? I mean, they're kind of really, just kind of methodically building up a nice steady setup here. I mean, they've got a couple big point plays down. They've got
already got 4 points in their bonus card.
Yep, that Swift is going to be could be a nice play for them. They'd give them a 5 point, 5 to potentially 6 point grassland engine with 2 birds. So because right now, of course, they can only draw
Oh, Barnell.
OP. Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
All right.
Man, Gracklin can't get that much
Nope.
unluckier than that.
GG.
That okay. This is rough. I've been trying to hold on to positivity, but that is
Covering
cover it up, cover it up. You can't see it. There's nothing here to see.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's
I again, I think that Sim's making a small mistake here. Really small, but small. If I was Sim, I would have been tucking and to picking up the gull. I would have been tucking I can't even think of what it is. The raven, using the raven to pick up 2 fish to then be able to play the gull straight away and sort of just go hammer time. You know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can see the case for keeping the Vireo. I mean, it's another it's a star nest, which will help you with that second end around. It's another bonus card, and you're going to be able to play a lot of birds. Or they wanted to. Well, shoot, they could have done that last turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
that's weird.
That's a waste of time.
Yeah, if they were gonna tuck the Vireo anyway, then yeah, that was weird.
So they're 1 turn behind where they could have been. So there's even with these sort of things, there's still ways that you can manipulate the game and still look at improving, and you still need to in some of these games, and that's the difference between winning and losing a really tight one.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Gracklin is. Gracklin's got some nice birds. They've got some potential. It's definitely going to be an uphill climb. But I mean, it is possible, that maybe Sim just kind of goes on isn't able to draw a lot of great birds, and there's the card draw is always a factor. So.
It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the white-throated Swift play. I don't know that they're going to be getting enough cards to really use it a lot, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're looking. I mean, I think that Sandpiper would be a nice pickup for them. It's it's 1 food. I mean, your opponent already is going to be able to just generate a ton of cards. Like, you've got to find a way to you basically have to kind of hope you can outdraw them. You're going to need those extra cards to tuck through the Swift, and so I think that the Sandpiper's kind of really a mandatory pickup for them. Chop, speak to me.
I've got nothing.
Okay. All right. I was just making sure. I don't know. There's always the prospect.
I am still here. I'm still here.
Technical difficulties, and nobody wants to hear Groove monologue. Least of all Groove. So.
No, I'm always happy with art monologue. I've listened to Flan enough. I'm used to kind of someone always just filling the dead air when you commentate with Flan. You can't shut the guy up. It's just difficult.
Yeah, let's just rip on Flan about. Let's just turn it into. Oh, there's. Wait, who's drawing? Oh, Gracklin. Okay, good. I was gonna say that.
Mockingbird could be pretty brutal. Yeah, completely agree. But I don't know that there's any point in him picking it up apart from pure deny. The owl's a 6-point play for 1 food. It for 5 points once you take the egg. That's not horrible for 1. All right.
Didn't block the Mockingbird, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially conceding, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Screech Owl is a great pickup. I mean, it helps you with that, like you say, with the bonus card, it's 5 points on its own.
There you go.
Certainly, but yeah, I think that was think that was a misstep, not blocking that Mockingbird.
A slight one for sure. For sure. Man, and the thing with Sim at the moment, Sim's also picking up these huge point cards, right? Look at that. There's 3 cards with 8 or bigger points. Which you are just going to be able to pump out.
Yeah, and especially, you know, I mean, there are also cards that you know, hit a fair number of bonus cards too, depending on what you get with that puffin. I think Sim needs to be looking to get that puffin down so they can kind of dictate, you know, which, because if you look at it, they've, you know, okay, there's 9 turns left for them, so they probably are going to try to get down maybe another, say, you know, maybe they'll get 4 more birds down. So I think getting that puffin down as soon as possible, so that they can, you know, use that, know what that bonus card is, and kind of use that to guide their which birds they're going to get down. And maybe if they're, you know, if they're lucky, they get a card like Wetland Scientist or Fishery Manager would be ideal, because with that,
yeah,
you've
got all 4
puffin, Heron, Ibis, and you've already got the goal down.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, no, it is good to do this. I mean, Sim seems to be doing pretty well. There's been a couple of small mistakes, but they've only been small, and with the setup that they've got, they're not really getting punished for them. However, if I was Sim here, I'd be probably just doubling down on the Swallow as much as I can, more than anything. You can kind of really double down on the Raven if you need it later, but I think they should have enough turns to get everything down.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's what you've kind of got to look at. You know, in this, when you're deciding how best to use that Mockingbird, right? If you've got, you know, if you're going to spend, say, 4 turns, I mean, you can kind of pick and choose when you're gonna double that Raven, like you say. You know, if you're going to get these birds down, I mean, I don't think you're in a rush to get any of them down, except maybe the puffin. So, yeah, you may as well get those additional card cycles, and then, like, you would rather, when the game is over, you would rather have, you know, run the Swallow and had to, like, activate the Raven at the end than, you know, overused the Raven, and now you've just turned eggs into food that you don't need, and missed out on those points.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't know if it came up just slightly, but it looked like that prior to that turn that Sim was only on 28 points with 8 turns to go.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Look, they've got no big point birds. They have 8 tucks and 5 eggs, and yeah,
Gracklin's generally won the end of rounds, right? But they do have some big point bombs to come. But it's definitely not. Definitely, Visionary Leader. That's not the best bonus card to have pulled with that Turtle Dove, but. The good thing for Gracklin with that bonus card pull is the fact that the last end of round is cards in hand, so you can kind of make sure that you get Visionary Leader and be trying to target that last end of round at the same time. But they just really don't have a great point engine built up out of their water.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, right? It's like, okay, the bonus card is 4 points.
There's another max bonus card coming.
Oh, what are
platform birds? Which obviously, like any of the birds that they play, they're on 5 already because of all the star birds they've got. They just need to play 1, and they've got a max.
Solid, nice. Yep. Yeah, so you can kind of get that Heron down, and then, then whatever. Now that skimmer in the tray looks like could be a nice pickup for Gracklin with their falconer bonus, and they've already got the 2 fish for it.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Turtle Dove though is interesting. Like So of course that's one of the European expansion birds where, you know, you play it and you get to draw 1 bonus card, and that's, you know, you don't get a choice, and that's kind of the risk, and one of the things that makes those birds maybe a little trickier to play is just you're taking such a bigger risk where you don't get to pick from 2 bonus cards. I mean, we all know, like, it's easy enough to whiff on 2 bonus cards. Whiffing on 1 is certainly
it is,
a
but some of them
possibility as well.
some of them are good, like early stages. I think it was like one of the nut hatches, which is like you get one bonus card, but then you can also get food, so you can actually use it in your forest to get an extra bonus card, get some food, and keep that sort of movement going. So there is definitely some drawbacks to these new bonus card birds, but they also give you generally something else at the same time, right?
Yeah, and that can be a real benefit, especially as with everything in this game, right? It's situational, so it's like that extra one piece of food or that extra maybe that extra egg, could help you could gain you some points by winning or tying an end of round, or maybe it just accelerates your play. It buys you or it saves you a turn, and of course one of the things that sometimes we forget in this game, like it's so easy to, there's an easy value on eggs, like, or you can see food. You got to remember that the most valuable thing that you have in this game is a turn. So if those birds in the right situations can help save you turn, just with that one little extra resource, like you were saying, it can really work out in that scenario.
Yep. No, I completely agree. We all know that eggs are more valuable than points, so it's just one of those facts of life, isn't it, Flan? But it's going to be an interesting thing.
Ouch.
Was that did what happened at the end there? 1, 2.
I don't. You just called me Flan.
No, I wasn't calling you Flan. I was actually just doing a little shout out to him.
Okay. I was like, man, what did I do to deserve that kind of shade, dude?
I know. I wouldn't say something that mean. That's horrible.
Just because I was like a little late knowing when you got married. Shoot.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Rough. But Gracklin's still putting together a solid game. They've taken 2.5 of the end of rounds out of 3 so far. They're doing okay in their bonus cards, and Sim is still not on a lot of points. Look, 57 with 5 turns to go. Now, granted, Sim's going to put down, a couple of 6, 7, and 8 point turns down.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sim's definitely not blowing the game out to where Sim is not going to score 120 here, right? Like,
no, certainly not. No.
So, whilst I still think Sim's going to win, I think Gracklin's done well just to keep this somewhat close.
Yeah, and you were asking a minute ago, Chop, about what Gracklin did on that last turn, and I'm not sure, but I do know that they did not pick up that skimmer, which I find a little bit surprising. I mean, in addition to the 6 points, it would have given them build them out to where they could draw 3 cards, which, given the last EOR, might have made a difference.
And the visionary leader.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Yeah, I mean they could have drawn. They could draw cards twice, and and then have some cards to tuck behind that Swift and whatnot. But
no, I completely agree. So it's definitely gonna. You have to take that Grasshawk though, right?
Yeah, well, that's going to be, let's see, it's 7 net 2 plus
the Falcon bonus.
Plus, right. Yeah, so that would be a nice.
Yeah, it's a 7-point play overall. However, it does kill off your visionary leader, which is 4 points right at this moment. So maybe you don't. Maybe you do just.
Well, they would need to take cards again. Right now, I think they're only at 4.
Mm.
And they've got to have. They're going to be tucking behind the Swift and that sort of thing. So I think best case for them, the way this is looking, is probably on that visionary. They might hit the minimum. If they did. They might hit the minimum on their last turn, but I mean, I think Sim. I'm kind of looking at the chat, and I'm seeing. Wait, I got to move this poll. I can't vote on the poll. I have a conflict or something.
No, you can definitely vote in the poll.
Okay, well, I closed it, but I would have voted for Sim. But it looks like. Yeah, Flan saying, or Winging It saying this end game is kind of tricky for Gracklin, and yeah, I agree. I mean, they've got to, they've got to manage their card volume for sure. So, but from Sim's perspective, I mean, Sim's looking okay. Like they're going to be looking at getting that Swan down. They're going to be looking at also the Warbler. It looks like. Potentially, or they could. I guess the Warbler would be this. No.
Oh, did you just see what we pulled? Eastern Imperial Eagle.
Oh, hello.
That's a point dump there. Look at that.
Yeah, what is it? It's about a dozen.
Yeah, dozen minus one egg, right? So 11 point play. That's pretty huge. And I think you just have to do it. Like that's so much more than anything else combined.
Yeah, I mean, how many? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, they could get that down, and then take cards one more time. Which, depending on how many, like you'd have to see exactly how many points that would be for the end of round and visionary leader. I mean, potentially it depends on what Sim's got. And we see Sim's got 83, Gracklin's got 65. So I mean, it's looking pretty good for Sim here, but I mean, I think Gracklin's put up a respectable game, certainly.
He was until the end here. I think he's starting to lose it now. You really going for 0 point play here when you're leaving 5 points per round up in the eggs. I don't think is worthwhile to gain an extra 3 points over Sim, right? Like, so yeah.
I gotta push back on you a little bit there, Chop, because it also affects their visionary leaders. So it could be a 7 point turn for them potentially.
Yeah, but like
depending on how that shakes out.
You play, if you played the Eastern Imperial Eagle a turn earlier, that's 11 points. Plus then you can discard some of this food, so you're getting 4 eggs per turn plus 2 eggs for this, 2 points for the Swift, plus then the chance that you may roll a 1 in 5 on the Hawk. I would be surprised if the 3 points from the Visionary Leader and the 3 points for the end of round from winning that is worth taking this at the moment.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I know it is round 4 and it's time for maths, but that's yeah. You very well might be right on that. So yeah, I mean, Sim is just gonna. It looks like they'll just run their grassland for 6 points again. Probably end up with about 105 or so.
Yeah. So looking at this, it appears that Gracklin has done an extra turn of 0 points here in the wetlands to gain the Visionary Leader, right, which is 3 points. Now, the 3 points isn't worth as much as the 5 points that you're going to get from 6 points that you're going to get from laying eggs and tucking through the Swift, plus the 1 point optional through the Hawk.
Yeah, let's see. Sim keeps going back to Gracklin's board, trying to figure out the cards. And man, I wish you could see. I mean, the only time you can see how many cards your opponent has in your hand when you have that EOR, I really wish you could see that information always, because it's information you have in the real game, like in the board game.
Is it depends on how sneaky your opponents are.
Well, if my opponents were concealing that information, I'd find different opponents.
Fair. Alrighty. So Sim has also got 9 birds down, which means they've got the full for the Oologist.
Nice, yeah. I mean, Sim's probably one that Oh,
Yeah, well,
that's right. I forgot Sim does the.
I was like, oh,
fast
Sim's playing
forward
this
thing.
out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not a surprising result given the given the disparity in setups. But Gracklin certainly put on a strong show, and I look forward to you and Flan overseeing another great game or two.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we'll just read the room as we've discussed, and not bring them in for a commentary, because it's never that fun when someone just sort of goes double OP on you, and then you have to justify. Certain things. So
for sure.
But Sim, if you want to get ready to send the next one, but don't send it yet, and we'll bring Flan into the commentary box. How you doing, Flan?
Thank you very much for welcoming me back in after all the lovely things I heard you say about me in that game one.
To be fair to all the people listening now, Flan's channel, so there's got to be at least 3. But he told us that we had full reign to go harsh at him during this game. So
that is true. Yeah, all good.
All publicity is good publicity. Is that the
something like that?
Okay. Yeah,
we'll put it that way. Yep. But yeah.
All right. Well, you two have fun in the Flanetarium. I'm gonna step out.
Good stuff.
No worries. Thanks, cheers. Mate. Appreciate you, and thanks for commentating again. We'll speak to you soon.
All right. Cheers.
Alrighty.
All right.
It's just you and me.
Sim, it is just us. Sim, do you want to get game 2 ready for us?
Yep. I think we can get this started again.
And, do you know what? I didn't get a chance to say it, but that game went quick. That was
speedy.
There was no dilly dally.
No, I like to see it. So good stuff. And yeah, as we said, it is a best of 3. So obviously, if Sim can win this game 2, we'll be all done. But if Gracklin can get the win, take us to a game 3, we will be in for the long haul. So yeah, I think Sim, you can get that sent out, and we'll get straight into it. So best of luck again to both players.
Sounds good.
So here we go. So hopefully a bit more of a fair fight this time. I think whenever you get those kind of Gull Raven games, it is always fun. But here we go. I should have kept quiet. I shouldn't have tempted fate.
This is on you.
It's all my fault. Yeah, I can only apologise. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, they got Raven, but was there really that much else in that hand to get too excited about?
And to get so started, so let's work this out. So that is obviously the cherry bonus card, the viticulturist. But what was the other one? It was either 5 or 6 or 7 plus.
Yeah. I couldn't work it out. See if they just base it on which one they pick and go from there. But yeah,
there's not a lot here though, is there?
No.
Would you go this? Is it the black woodpecker?
Yeah, it's tricky because it's expensive to get down. I mean, obviously there is a worm there, but then if you activate that first time, you're not going to get anything, because you can't get the reroll. So it feels...
but he doesn't need to activate it straight away, because he can use the condor, right? So you can go
true.
Get the slug, put that up, lay eggs, play the condor, then roll it through, set up your raven. But you are leaving behind your wetlands, and you haven't done anything in wetlands at all. So
yeah, that's the tricky thing, because we say it time and time again. You get the raven round 1, you've got to do something with the rest of your turns. I mean, obviously the woodpecker, if they are going to go for this viticulturist, that is going to work quite nicely there. Get them started. I think maybe that's what they're thinking about here. But yeah, I mean, if you spend too many turns on that wetlands, kind of setting that up, or on the forest, then you kind of don't give yourself turns to set up that wetlands and maybe get the card draw that you're looking for. I mean, certainly I'd expect that Savvy's Warbler is going to get picked up. Obviously, that's going to help. But do you just kind of spam that a lot in round 1 and see what you can get, or do you go for this woodpecker and try and set something up?
Savvy's the 2 for 1?
It is, yeah. So you draw 2, and then your opponent draws 1. So it is going to help Gracklin obviously a little bit, but yeah, when you're able to draw 2 extra cards with with that Savvy Swarbler, that kind of helps the Raven, obviously, because you get all the food you want in the world with the Raven. You need the card draw to support that. So, yeah, I think certainly the Savvy Swarbler is going to help out there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I would be taking this Woodpecker if this was me.
Yeah, I think you can make it work. I think you can just about make it work. I mean, it obviously, yeah, if they are going for the viticulturist, it's going to help out there. That does get you off at least one bird, and maybe if you're going to look to max that out, that could make the difference later on in the game. But yeah, I mean, the alternative, like I said, you kind of think about, okay, if I'm not keeping the Woodpecker, what am I doing with these 8 turns? So you go for the Savvy's Warbler, you probably go for this Condor as well. And then what, do you just like draw cards for 4 turns and then make sure you've got the food for the Raven? It kind of feels a bit like slow. You're going to end the round with loads of cards, but only like 2 points on the board, and nothing potentially in this grasslands for the end of round. So yeah, it's
Towie.
a tricky one. But here we go. Yeah, Towie and the Cowbird as well. So obviously, Gracklin's not going to know about the Raven this time, unlike the previous game. But I think you still probably keep this Cowbird here just for that insurance of, well, I know what happened last game. It would have been really nice to have a Cowbird in that situation. So, maybe you look to keep it in this case, and it's easy to get down with that Towie, certainly.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting. I'm never a huge fan of having a Towie and a Cowbird together, because if I'm getting a Towie, I'm going to put in the grasslands, going to try and build up where I'm going to be using that grasslands strongly, and the Cowbird becomes like just a hole in that plan. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, because you could almost pretty easily go that the Towie and the Whistling Duck just as a bit of an early setup and see what you can pull and tuck, and you get a couple of eggs down in your grasslands. You're going to probably win that first end of round. You can tuck through some cards, see what comes up. Your favorite card would work amazingly well,
As it always does.
Yeah. I mean, you would think it would work well, having the opponent having the Raven and not rotating. Why not? I don't mind this at all, hey?
Yeah, I think
Whistling Duck, definitely F tier, but it's very situational.
It is situational, but is this a situation where it's that useful? I don't know. I'm surprised by the choice there. I think, even there was it the Sparrowhawk, one of those where you took the cards instead? I maybe could have looked at going for that instead, or even, like I said, that Cowbird. I think, for me, the Cowbird is one of those where if you don't keep it, you're going to regret it later most of the time. And even if you do keep it, most times you can kind of cycle through it. Obviously, we see with this Tree Swallow now, I imagine that's going to go down. That kind of obviously would give opportunities for maybe ditching it later if you don't want it. But yeah, I think they might come to regret that, certainly, as soon as they see the Raven go down at the start of round 2.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't have any bowl nests at all set up at this point. And as much with the Sparrowhawk, none of the end of round goals do you need anything to do with the forest. So if you can get a Towie and a Hummingbird or anything like that, you actually could completely ignore all the forest in this game.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I think that probably has to be the goal. I mean, certainly a Hummingbird in this situation would be really good. Obviously, you kind of spoke about it in game 1 with the Raven, and when Gracklin had that Phoebe. If you can kind of throw resources around to your opponent that they already have really good access to, then it's going to help you kind of more than them. And certainly, I think for me, if you can get those 2 food in the grasslands, that's kind of the cut-off point where I feel pretty safe avoiding the forest. So that probably is going to be the goal. And certainly, I think they can lay eggs here, start going for some cards, and that Tree Swallow is just going to help a little bit as well with the cycling through of the cards.
Was that the behavioralist? Do you think?
Yeah, behaviorist.
I think that might be the behaviorist.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. So not
difficult.
Yeah,
difficult bonus card.
Very, very. And the way it's set up, they're going to play that Raven in that first column, so that's already 2 brown powers. That one's out the window, and you then only really give yourself a couple of chances at maybe columns 2 and 3 to get some points. It's so difficult, I think, behaviorists. I'm not at all surprised they went for wetland scientist, even though with this condor down, you can't max it out. But I think the 3 points for that wetland scientist is probably going to be easier in this position than getting 3 points from the behaviorist.
100%. Well, considering that Raven's going to be down for your first bird, so you can't get the behaviorist no matter what you do in that first column.
Yeah.
It's going to get a bit complicated. Then you start needing to, I need that double bird. I need to start doing something a bit tricky. It gets a little bit complicated. And then you do it once. You're like, yay, and then you're like, oh, I only got 3 points.
Yeah. And I think these bonus cards they're not great for Sim at the moment. So they obviously had some quite nice ones last game. Was it like 13 points from 2 bonus cards? They could easily miss both of these, and they don't pair well together, right? In terms of when you go for bonus cards, it's good to get bonus cards that match up. So like Fishery Manager, Wetland Scientist obviously would be a really good combo. I don't think there's many birds that are going to meet both of those bonus cards, other than the Tree Swallow. The Tree Swallow
there's another one.
Gracklin's already played.
There's it's a 7-point bird. It's an omnivore with the cherry, and it's a platform bird that gives you one bird to both opponents.
The Gallinule.
Yeah, that one. Purple Gallinule, right?
So that's probably, I think that might be the only one in a deck of like 250
That's the only other one.
Cards that they're going to look for. So,
but how nice is this?
Here we
Look
go.
at this Nightingale.
Here we go. Absolutely.
Nightingale with the tower.
Absolute dream. You play that. They've already got the seed from using the Tauhi previously. So, that is so good.
Yep.
And the Oriole as well. Big points. You can easily get the food. You need to play that through the Nightingale. Yep. So this is looking okay. This is looking good for Gracklin. I don't mind this start.
And I think they're going to get some free cards as well from him, right? So you really set this up. This could be nice. And they've already got, one of the things I really like so far, they've already got 8 egg spots out of 2 birds. And the Nightingale, I think, is another 4-point bird, isn't it? 4 egg spots.
Absolutely.
So you're going to go heavy with the eggs, and you've got a lot of spots there ready to go. So it's really, really nice.
Yeah, so Sim managed to get I think it's the Collared Dove on that last Endurance card, so that is going to be really good for them. That's one of those where you can ditch some food at the end of each round, turn those into tuck cards, and obviously with the Raven you're going to have plenty of food, but I think now they see this Nightingale gone down, they know they're going to be getting some free food thrown around as well, so that kind of feels like they're going to be trying to get that down as well.
It is a great bird, and especially when there is excess food. However, I have seen some people recently sort of overvalue it, where they kind of kill their own game by ditching all their food early game to get a couple of points, which actually really slows down their game and overall is a massively losing play. But I agree with you with the Raven and then them getting free food from the Nightingale. I think this is pretty. It's a very good bird for them.
Yeah, I think it takes some careful use, and particularly like you say early in the game, you don't want to turn food into points. You'd rather have that food so you can get birds down. That's the priority. But certainly, rounds 3 and 4, I think Sim is going to have loads of food left over, and as well, it's going to work for this Viticulturist bonus card. So certainly, I'd be expecting them to get it down. But kind of question for
early
you.
Game.
I'm going to ask you. They've got this Spotted Sandpiper Gracklin. I know you don't like throwing some cards around, particularly against the Raven. Not. So, if you're Gracklin, do you look to play that? You need to get something down, but
no, I don't. I don't. I get the Snowy Owl down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm guessing your reaction was to the swallow there.
It was to the swallow. The thing is as well, when you start using that bird, look, I don't hate him putting it down. It'd be depending on whether he actually activates it, because you can play it and not actually activate it. But you don't want to start giving your opponent free cards, because what's going to happen is they're going to stop giving you free cards.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to need them anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. One other thing with that Collared Dove that I didn't think about initially is that it is a cherry bird, so it is going to help them with their Viticulturist as well, which is even stronger. So, but yeah, would you say that early game eggs are more valuable than points than over food, or would you say that it's the other way around? Or
it's the other way around. Like I'd rather have food early game than eggs. There's a point, like once you have about 3 or 4 eggs in the early game, you don't need any more eggs. Like the only reason you need eggs early game is to play birds.
Yeah.
And eggs are so much easier to get naturally than the other resources, right? You already get 2 at the start, even without any birds in the habitat, whereas the other 2 you only get 1. So yeah, you absolutely want the food rather than the eggs, and that's why birds like the raven and even the fish crow that Sim managed to find as well. That's why they're so highly valued early in the game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this continues to play out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of joked about it.
Strong grassland birds, right?
Yeah, I kind of joked about it
Yeah, go ahead.
with Sim Start. You know, I kind of said, oh, are they just going to play Savvy's Warbler and Condor and then just draw cards for like 4 turns? But that's exactly what they've done, and you know, it's worked out. They've got the swallow, so I think kind of straightforwardly, you kind of get the raven and the swallow down in the grasslands, and then you just start laying eggs. You know, you tuck all these cards. Sim probably doesn't need to draw cards again in this game. I think you've probably got enough there to work with to cycle through with the swallow. You know, you find some big point birds and then use the food that you get from that raven to play those. So certainly kind of feels like that's going to be the game plan. And you know, for Gracklin, I think they're gonna maybe have some difficulty coming up against this.
Yeah. Now, this spot right here for Gracklin is where you can easily make mistakes. Where you've got a couple of big point birds there, and you could just be playing eggs and using them, but then you're not really setting yourself up for endgame at all.
Yeah.
He's doing the right thing here by actually going and searching for some more grassland birds.
Well,
and
grassland birds,
Swan,
or the mute swan, and he is certainly very happy about that. So I think that's really nice.
There was a little dance.
Yeah. No, that is great because they can, you know, you lay eggs, you get the worm from the nightingale, and then obviously the extra seed to play the mute swan as well. So you get that down, and suddenly you've got a 3, potentially 4 point wetlands where you can start cycling cards. You know, it helps with this end of round goal as well. So that's a really nice pickup there for Gracklin.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that they do need to cycle cards. Like I said, I really think that they need to focus on it. They can get that mute swan down. It helps towards the next 3 end of round goals, and then start cycling because they really need 2 more quality grassland birds. Hopefully a tuck, but something that they can just get some really good points out of. Because as nice as the Towie Nightingale is, they need a little bit more.
Indeed. So I think Sim might have just been having some issues there.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to play the Raven. It looked like the game was kind of glitching out. So bear with us. We will just check in. But fantastically, this gives me a great opportunity to use my new technical difficulties screen that I made a little while back, and right when it was in the peak of timer bugs and all the issues with the European expansion, and then everything fixed itself after I made this. So no, it looks like we are back up and running. So
I like it.
That was not too long.
Incorrect electrical plugs, you know, but you know, that's about it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a grounding plug?
Yeah,
you gotta have 3 pins.
Yeah, 3 pins all the way, mate.
3 pins, you know. Ours are slanted as well. They're on an angle.
Man,
on this
on the list
perfectly
of topics I didn't expect to get brought up today. But there we go. You never know what's going to happen. So, yeah.
Especially with us.
Yeah, especially with us. So, I was just about to say, I wonder if Gracklin is going to go for this blackbird. So, it does kind of
I don't
feel
like the blackbird here.
Well, but it kind of feels like a full tuck pivot here is maybe on the cards. So, you know, like we said, they've already got that swan that gets lots of tuck cards, and now with the ruddy duck as well, potentially to help feed getting the cards to get those tucks as well. I think there's potential here. I think there's potential for a good 5-6 point wetland here to really get some points. And you know, they've already got the good food source and the eggs as well in the grass, and so I don't mind this. I think if you're going to pivot, the time is now. You know, you want to do it this round for the end of round goal to make sure that you are getting the points from that, but also get the engine set up. And I think if they can get it set up, again, by the end of round 2, it's a very strong position.
I would slightly disagree with the timing, because there is no way that Sim, if their setup, is picking up that bird, right? So you do not need to rush down and pick it up. So in my opinion, I would have laid eggs, got the food for the mute swan, played the mute swan, picked up, but seen what other cards I would have drawn, and looked at being the last bird I picked up at with the tree swallow, just to go. Because if you pick up a couple of really nice tucking birds that go in the grasslands, we know that grassland, as much as full tuck can be really powerful, unless you're doing it really early and doing it the whole time, it can not get you enough just to win. So I would have just done it in a slightly different order, if that was me.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I think you're right. I think whenever you do draw cards like that, if you do have a good wetland bird, you probably want to get that down first, just so you get the extra points. And yeah, certainly if there is something in the tray that you want, kind of try and pick that up as late as possible. But I think this is still going to work out okay for Gracklin. They've still got enough turns here. You lay eggs, you play the swan, and then you even get one turn of looking to draw cards as well. But things are looking pretty nicely for Sim as well here. Obviously, that woodstock in the tray, you pick that up, no brainer. That's going to be big points. So they're maybe going to look to get down this collared dove, just kind of based on the food they've gone for there. That feels like what the plan is going to be, but certainly that woodstock can go down not too long after that one.
What do you think about the ordering the blackbird after the mute swan?
I think potentially. I mean, obviously, they can't tuck everything and then tuck behind the blackbird, because you need something for the tree swallow. So I think either way,
you've got the sandpiper.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it depends if they want to be using that. But I think at the moment, let's think about this. They draw 3 cards. You tuck all of them, draw 1, tuck on the blackbird, and then if you're going to use the sandpiper, you draw and then tuck again. So.
Then you got one more.
And then you got one more.
Then you don't really need to use it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I think he's already got plenty of cards in the hand. So I think it works out as a net 0 card action, and you score 6 points. So obviously the blackbird is going to fill up on eggs at some point. I think Gracklin is going to need to think carefully about how they use that up, because they're not getting the food in the wetlands at the moment. Maybe they find a crow or something, or a hummingbird, and they can get that down, and that'd be very, very nice. But yeah, they're going to need to probably go eagle digging here and try and find some of those big point birds.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely Imperial or Benelli's would be amazing.
Ooh, well, that's not the time to draw Killdeer when you've just committed to the full tuck, but...
This is kind of my point about playing the mute swan first, right? It wasn't far away.
It wasn't far away, but it probably still would have been just too far away. If anything, I think it's relieving to pick it up, because that your opponent hasn't got it. That's probably the only good thing about picking it up here. Okay. Yeah, not really the kind of card draw that Gracklin's looking for there, but they've got a few more turns. Keep digging, laying eggs on the blackbird, obviously, until that fills up. And that's
bustard's not the worst, right? Because you could lay eggs, which is still going to be 3, gain the 2 food that you need for the bustard, and play it, and then take an egg away from the blackbird by doing that.
No, I like that. That's a good plan. Like you say, you get 3 points for laying those eggs, and then you get another 3, potentially 4 points if you go for the egg when you play the bustard, and of course you're getting a bonus card. So that's not a bad little play. And like you say, if that just lets you take 1 egg off the blackbird, just gives you 1 more turn going for the tuck cards, then I don't mind that at all. Okay, it's a very odd stuff in the chat. I think Groove is asking me something about not having to pull over for emergency vehicles. So I'm not quite sure if he's trying to go more off a tangent than we were with the electrical
He is talking
bugs.
about QI, which he said he was starting to watch. I'm
not even going to try and make sense of it.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
All right. Now, I was just going to ask you how much food you think Sim is gonna ditch with this collar duck, but I think that was the right play. You keep the rodents. They want to get this big point eagle down. I think that makes sense.
3 points was not worth it.
Yeah. No.
Do you know one thing that isn't helping Sim right now is egg space?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that eagle does not help. It's only one.
No.
And if they don't have a lot of great birds to be getting down here at the moment.
No, I think they've got one of the double birds for the forest. That will help at some point, but they need something to pair with that. And at the moment, that's not really coming along. So yeah, I think they've got the space to lay eggs. Maybe even just once before filling up becomes a problem. So yeah, obviously they've got this woodstock that will go down, but even that's only got a couple of spaces. So they are going to need to find, I don't know, like a wild turkey or something that's got a lot of space to try and get down and hopefully clear out some space, but then also generate a bit of space for themselves as well.
Yeah, completely agree. Wild turkey would be an absolute dream bird.
Yeah. All right, so for Gracklin,
along with the viticulturals, along with the egg spaces, along with the double, like it kind of just works for everything, doesn't it?
Well, here we go. Grey catbird. Grey catbird. I think you commit and you play that in the wetlands now, don't you? I think that feels like the play. You can start discarding the eggs.
What are you doing? I don't know that.
I think you get that down. Yeah, I think you can discard the eggs. I don't know. Is it going to get?
So what are you planning to?
It's probably only a
double.
1 point. Yeah, it's tricky.
The tree swallow? Is that what you're just doubling down with?
I think. Well, so if you,
because you can't do the mutes one, you don't have the cards for it.
So if you double the swallow, it's again a net zero card action, but they have got some spare cards. So later in the game, all of these will get tucked eventually. You could copy the swan and do that, or copy the blackbird really late in the game if you are filling up on eggs. So I think they could, but I think that if they got the mockingbird, it would have been maybe better. I think maybe you could get that down a little bit quicker, but. I think if you were going to go catbird, you commit, but I don't mind.
It's going to take them 2 turns of laying eggs as well, get food, and you're giving your opponent food, who's going to be able to use it with the collet dove.
Right, that's the thing. I think with this nightingale, Gracklin certainly does need to be wary of that. Every food I'm giving away is worth a point to my opponent. So yeah, not.
Hey, nice little pick up with the. I think they could have done it 1 or 2 turns earlier.
Yeah,
with a vulture. With the golden eagle.
Right. Yeah, very, very nice. It's a shame that it revealed the godwit. I think certainly if you're Sim, you look to grab that,
pick that up
pretty quickly, I'm assuming. Another bonus card. I mean, the 3 cards you don't really care too much about because you've got plenty of cards, but
6 point bird with 1 bonus card.
Exactly,
it's not bad.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they have to go for. And I mean, really at this point, it is just about trying to find birds to play. Like we said, it's egg space is the problem, so they could start getting some of these down. Yeah, 1 egg spot available now. You play a bird, that only gives you 4 egg spaces. That's just 1 turn of laying eggs, and then suddenly you need to play another bird. So it's really kind of catching up with them very quickly here, Sim, that they need to clear out some space. So vulture goes down. I like that. I think that is a good play. And if they can get some free food through that eagle, that just maybe means they can keep running this wetlands a little bit longer. Maybe not have to lay eggs and give away some free food. So.
Now, if you get a couple of free cherries from the black vulture, then I might consider the catbird, right?
Yeah, I mean, if
you're getting it for free.
Yeah, because the thing for me with the catbird, right, is that it gains it's a net 1 point at minimum, but it also means you're not going to miss the egg points here. So at the moment, obviously with Gracklin, and I think they're kind of realizing this. Maybe it's going to be busted first, like we talked about before. But at the moment, if they do go for the cards, you're missing out on the eggs on the blackbird, which you really want to avoid. So I think they are probably going to go for the busted first. Obviously, for the total birds end of round, it's going to help for that as well. So they might be able to win or at least get a tie on that, which I think has to be the goal. So I don't mind that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I wonder what Sim's thinking here. They're trying to work out the value of this, and again, this is a topic that comes up all the time on the Discord. If my opponent has a vulture, is it worth me activating my hunting powers and getting that point at the risk of giving them a food. What's your take on that?
It's very situational. In this specific situation, where I've got, he's not really getting points from anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'd be doing it because he's at the moment he's getting 1 point for the egg, which he's discarding by playing the Raven. He's getting 1 point for tucking.
Yeah.
You've got to try and get more than 1 point per turn in this thing. As much as it looks like it's a nice setup for Sim, you're not getting many points at all out of this.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think there's almost a bit of mind games here because I think Sim is thinking, if I skip the eagle and don't give them food, they're going to have to lay eggs for food, and that will give me food, which I can turn into points. So, I think what they're thinking is, I'll get the food anyway, or get the points anyway, because if I get that food, that's going to help as well. So there might be a little bit of that going on, but I think I kind of do agree with your point. At the moment, it's only a 4-point engine when they are activating. So, I've seen a few kind of points in the chat where people are saying, it's not certain who's going to win this. Obviously, this setup is so strong for Sim, but it is kind of all really centered around on getting the egg space here and getting the big point birds down, which isn't really coming into play at the moment.
Not at all. So, for me, Gracklin just plays a busted. Does Gracklin know it's his
I think
turn?
so, yeah. I think he's just thinking, trying to work. It's the classic late game calculation. So, probably they're trying to work out, okay, what could I look for in a bonus card? They give a little sneak of the score there, and it is looking very, very strong already. So
it is. Speaking of late game calculations, do you know who is very slow at late game calculations?
Go on.
They've even had to apologize in the Premier League for how slow they've been at late game calculations. It is not Slow Pigeon.
No,
it is not Slow Pigeon. It is Mr. Simon Devisme himself.
Never. I would never have expected him to be so slow.
So slow. Him and Simple Maths do not go hand in hand.
No, and he's always the first to call it out as well. He'll
100%.
He'll complain if other people are being slow, and then he'll take a 5-minute turn doing some sums in the last round. So
yeah. See, at least Geist is a speedy player.
Yeah.
Right? Geist, pure speed, doesn't like playing slow games, but will never play a slow game himself.
Yeah. He talks big, but he delivers, whereas Davim talks big and doesn't deliver. So that's the issue.
100%.
Right, what do you make of that? So Gracklin has gone for the food.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I think they realised that they need to commit to this catbird, but I don't understand why you'd go for food there and not just lay eggs, because you could lay eggs and get the cherries that way, and that way you're getting points and you're saving yourself cards, which also become points later in the game. So
yeah, exactly. Plus, okay, so you're giving your opponent one food, which they're going to be able. Let's just say that's going to equate to 1 point through the collar dove.
Right.
But you're gaining 3 eggs,
Exactly.
which is 3 points. So it's still a 3-1.
Yeah. And
play.
egg space is not the problem here for Gracklin. Like we kind of said at the start of the game, they've got all these birds with loads of space. Really the only one they need to worry about is that blackbird, but that is not going to be a problem, I think, if they do look to get this catbird down and go for that. But yeah, I don't like that either. I certainly would have preferred to see lay eggs. You could even play the bastard and then lay eggs, see what you get. But not a bad draw on the bonus card for Sim. I think Forrester, they've got obviously the Tanager they can get down. Also meets Viticulture, so solid. When you only get a choice from one, right? That's a pretty solid pickup.
Yeah, completely agree.
And obviously the egg space as well, it helps, and this end of round. So I think that double play, I think that puts Sim ahead on 9. I think Gracklin is only on 7. Yeah, there we go. So that is a little bit of a shame to lose that when you were so close to being able to tie. But here we go. Catbird goes down. I think it's probably just going to be a case of spam that wetlands, get all the tuck cards and the eggs. And if they do get even a free food from the Vulture, I don't think it's going to help, because they're really looking for worms, and there's none of those available. So
Yeah. I'm gonna be really sad for them if they lose by 2 points because they now basically don't need that cherry, that grain they've got left over. So they could have got one grain from the Nightingale, got one cherry from the Nightingale, the grain from the Towie.
Exactly.
Got an extra couple of points. Got an extra couple of points.
Yeah. It's a little thing. It's a very little thing, but like you said, some of these games, I think particularly the games between the top players on the server are often really close, and you can't afford to leave even a point or two on the table because that can come back to bite you. So yeah, I hope for Gracklin's sake that doesn't come back to bite them. But yeah, certainly they still have a very nice setup here. I think they can just really run with this wetlands. They're going to get so many tuck cards, and for Sim it's kind of tricky. I think again it's kind of back to this point of, if they're going to skip this Golden Eagle, you're only getting 4 points. Gracklin is getting like 7-8 points a turn through this wetlands. And really for Sim, it is just going to be about finding these big point birds. They've still got a couple they can look to play, but even that, when they're playing those, you're getting maybe 5-6 points a turn for playing those. So they are still falling behind a bit in terms of how many points they can score in this late game.
Yeah, definitely.
Gracklin very excited about the Horned Lark. Is that going to carry them to victory? Who knows?
We shall see. I really do want Gracklin to win this one, just so we see a game 3.
Oh, absolutely.
And see what happens.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would like to see
this is always the case, right? In finals, I mean, even in like earlier rounds, whenever we do these best of 3 streams, it's absolutely no bias. I've got no favour towards or nothing against either of the players.
Speak for yourself.
But you want to see a game 3. You want to see a real close fight, and everything on the line. That's where Wingspan is made, really. So that's what we all want to see, I think.
Yeah, for sure. No, I know. I am a little bit of a Sim fanboy. I'm not gonna lie. I just
you're
think
a glory
that
hunter. You're a Man City fan and you're a Sim fan. You only pick them when they start winning. That's how it goes.
Yeah, basically. You're just salty that Mane got sold this morning. So
you got no response to that.
But yeah, I know Sim has done so well over the last 7-8 tournaments. It's hard not to just give them a lot of credit for what they've done. So yeah, it's just that I'm very impressed. But I do want it to go to 3. I like it being best of 3. Everyone gets a bit of blood, and then have a
exactly.
I also think that the one game winner takes all, the pressure's on the most, and that's when you see who can actually handle it as well, and who makes silly mistakes, Terry, and who also then can really go through and play really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, we definitely want to see it. The game 3 come up. However, this Chaffinch, it's been pointed out in the chat while we were blabbing on. That is potentially a game changer here for Sim. You get that down. You've got all these extra cards. Does look like they're planning on getting that down. So, yeah, certainly now they can lay eggs, and suddenly you're not getting 4 points, but you're maybe getting like 8 or 9 if you can max out on these tuck cards. So that feels very strong here for Sim.
Especially with the Sandpiper starting to get activated to try and max out for them.
Exactly.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Interesting thing though, it doesn't look like it does enough for end of round. It looks like Gracklin still has this.
I think so.
Brown power.
Yeah. I think for end of round goal, it's not going to matter, but it's kind of. I think this is what Sim's got to work out, right? Because it's a 4-point bird, but it costs you 2 eggs, so you're only getting 2 points from that. Now, okay, normally in this situation you say that 5th grassland bird, it unlocks the extra egg, but I don't think Sim wants that, because you're going to have the extra food that you can use through the collared dove, and really, again, if egg space is the problem, you don't want more eggs. So I think this is what they're trying to work out. They've obviously still got these other good options. I think trying to max out that, or at least meet the lower threshold of the forester is going to be nice. I think that's probably what you try and do. But equally, they still got this. I think it's the Godwit for the wetland bonus card. So options galore at the moment, and this is really where it gets tricky in the late game.
I'll put my sort of thing on the line. At the moment, if this was me, I wouldn't be playing the Chaffinch, because you what else are you doing? You're getting rid of your cards. You're not going to play as much. I'd be trying to get that that forest bird down, that's going to be 3 food. That's going to give you 3 the cherry for the 3rd cherry bird, plus also it's going to get the forester, and then try and get the other bonus card down, which is going to complete the Wardlands forest as well. So I think there's too many bonus cards that go well with the other 2 cards that you've already got.
Exactly.
To go for the Chaffinchia.
Yeah.
If you had a whole heap of egg space, then I would say go for it. But
yeah, I think if you had more cards as well, because you kind of look at this, and you think, right, is the plan now to just hammer the grasslands, or are you still going to play some of these birds? Because if you're going to play some of them, maybe seems like the Godwit is going to go down. That does obviously give them card to tuck with the Chaffinch as well, but you're going to get maybe at most, I'm going to say like 6 tucks behind the Chaffinch. So you look at that as, okay, 2 points for the bird and 6 points for the tucks. That's 8 points. Well, you would have got that and then some for playing the Tanager. You would have got more for playing the Godwit as well. I think I'm not sure really I would have gone for that either. I think I agree with you. You try and get the bonus card birds down first.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah, I do wonder now if the Sandpiper is going to get activated. Obviously, like you kind of said before, it helps Gracklin because they'll get the extra tucks. But if you're going to help your opponent get extra tucks as well, maybe it doesn't matter so much here. But it seems like they are still going for it at least.
Yeah. Your opponent has a lot of cards. So do you just gamble that they still just have too many? And if you look at their egg space, you're like, are they really just going to go for eggs for the rest of the game?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is, like you say, it's one of those where it's definitely going to be worth a point for you, and it might be worth a point for your opponent, and it's not going to be worth more than 1. So I don't mind it, and obviously here, Sim has been able to get
free food.
Here we go. Here comes the free food. So I think it is too late. I think it is too late, and I think probably that's what Sim has worked out. It gets to the point where it's probably better for Gracklin to just keep running this wetlands here and do that. But something I've just remembered, they do have this oologist right now. So at the moment they are missing out on the full points, but it's almost at the point where playing a bird and then laying eggs on it isn't going to get you as many points, maxing out the oologist compared to just running this wetlands here.
Now they need to start ditching the egg out of the blackbird. Oh, there we go. Well done. Good. Oh, the covered.
That would have been nice earlier.
That could have been useful earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, some good options. The girl and the goldfinch, I think, would have been nice for them earlier, but it's all right. They're all going to get tucked, so it's not too bad. And Sandhill Crane as well. That would have been nice for the Tauhi. So all the good birds seem to come up late in the game, but that's how it goes.
just tuck one, Gracklin.
I think he wants to keep the lark. I think he wanted to keep the lark, but he might be thinking. He does. He might be thinking if you get that extra food with the seed, you could play that goldfinch and then lay eggs. But yeah, again, I think I'm not sure you would get the points to justify doing that over just running this wetlands. Because look, how many tucks did they just get that turn? They must have got like 6 or 7 tucks right there.
Well, there was 6 just through the catbird. Then there was one in the blackbird and one in the swallow. So 8.
8 tucks. So that's 8 points. Pretty solid for a final round engine.
Compared to 4 points from laying the lark, and then 3 points. 4 points. 3 plus 3 because you get the oologist as well. So that's only worth 1 turn of the tucks, right?
Exactly.
Like when you combine them together, so it just doesn't work out.
No, I don't think so. So yeah, this is the interesting point for Sim. I'm going to be very interested to see which bird they let's keep here. I think surely the Godwit has to go down, just because they.
You go the Godwit? Don't you go the? I don't know. See, they've put themselves in a hole. Like, because are you going to do the Godwit or are you going to do that Taniga? Because remember, you've got the Forester one as well. Yeah.
Well, so you've got Forester and you've got Wetland Scientist. So Forester.
There's the cherries. How many cherry birds have they got?
They've already met the lower threshold. I don't think they could max that one out. So yeah, you get 4 extra points for the Forester, and it costs you 1 fewer egg. So it would be 2 points better off doing that. Obviously, if you play the Godwit, you get a bonus card. And also you get another card, which you can then tuck with the Chaffinch, so that's also another point. I think that's probably what they're going to have to bear in mind here.
One of the things here as well, they've still got the Swallow, so they don't want to tuck all of their cards, because they still need to you know.
Yeah, you need something. You need something left to tuck with that swallow. So you are always going to get left with one left over here. But eagle again. They're clearly very happy to throw around the food, and why not? I think, like we said, it's not worthwhile here for Gracklin to move away from that wetlands. Hey.
Yeah, Bushy has just said, win or lose, props to Gracklin for a really good fight.
Absolutely.
And I have to completely agree with that statement.
No, absolutely. I think, there were a couple of minor points when they were pivoting across and getting the blackbird and the swan down where it was about the turn order and what do you prioritize. But I think, my instinct, as soon as I saw that swan and then the blackbird appears as well, I think they did the right thing and went for the wetlands here. And certainly all these tuck cards, I mean, it kind of felt like the only way they had a fighting chance was to kind of overwhelm in one category. And certainly in the tuck cards here, that's what they went for.
And the other thing was taking the food from the forest rather than going via the grasslands. That was the only other that was for me a big mistake. Whereas the order thing was really small, minute, like 1% sort of play that me and you were talking about. Everything else was pretty much on. But
yeah, and even kind of putting that all aside, you kind of think about the kind of mental state that Gracklin is going to be in after that. Game 1, you just got smoked 100%. By Raven Gull, and then game 2, you see another Raven comes up. Like, we've all been there. It is so difficult to keep your head up and sort of keep focus and motivate yourself and think, I can actually still win this. And yeah, absolutely, props to them. Win or lose this game, certainly they have, not embarrassed themselves here. Platform builder, very good pickup. Absolutely.
But they as much as they have 5 bonus cards, we know that they brick the Forester.
Yeah.
Oh, unless they put down that.
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
No.
They finally got some egg spaces.
Yeah, I think it's going to be laying eggs here. But yeah, they got 5 bonus cards, but I think they're only getting maybe like 3 or 4 points on average from each of them. So it's okay, but it's not like we're going to see them score 35 bonus card points. It's maybe going to be closer to like 15, 20. Which is strong, but you compare that to the amount of tuck cards that Gracklin has got here, and it's certainly going to be 2 very high scores. And we did put out a little poll to see who our viewers thought were going to win, and it's very, very close, slight edge to Gracklin. But I think I agree, it's so difficult to call this one. It feels like it's going to be super close.
Look at this. That was nice. I like the fact that he denied that sandpiper there. You did not need to do it.
Absolutely.
That was very good. What is that? 12, 23, 36, 48, 58 tucks. Woo!
Lovely stuff. That's what you like to see.
Man, you came onto commentary and you've inspired.
What can I say? What can I say? I take absolutely no credit for this. This is all Gracklin's good work. So,
definitely. I definitely was not giving you credit.
Good.
You are not the brains behind the operation.
No. I wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, pretty nice final turn here for Sim as well. So obviously they're getting 4 eggs. They get 2 tucks here. They get another tuck there. They'll get another tuck through the swallow. So that's 8 points, and then presumably, I'm guessing they're going to use the Raven because they'll turn that 1 egg into 2 tuck cards with the collared dove. So, yeah, it's looking like Sim is going to be about 120 after the.
Really, that high?
Yeah. Well, so look, they're already on 108. Now they're on 109.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
They're going to get 4 tucks from the collared dove, and then another 4 from the end of round. So it's kind of maybe 115-ish. Yeah, that kind of range. I don't think Gracklin has given us a little sneak preview at all, so we might just have to be kind of guessing from where they're at. But we will see.
I think Tim has done enough. Gracklin!
My God! A single point.
We didn't get the sweat. We didn't get the sweat. I hate not getting the sweat. Gracklin by a point.
Man, we would have. I mean, Gracklin is going to be sweating so much right now, but we would have been sweating. Let's imagine.
Let's just sweat. I'm gonna.
Wow. I mean, at this point, Sim just looks so far ahead in the score. And then it's just all these tuck cards that come flying back here.
Look at this. Coming.
Here they come.
1 point.
Wow.
Gracklin.
1 point in
All right, let's let's bring them back in. Let's get them to talk a little bit before this.
Wow.
Oh my god.
What a game.
Gracklin.
Wow. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm still gonna lose, but it'll be death with dignity. I'll hold my own in game 2. But yep. Man, that Mute Swan is really good.
Yeah.
I had a pivotal moment where I was deciding whether or not to play that Catbird, and I think it was the right call. Yeah, it was just such a huge engine at the end. But obviously, facing off against the Raven again. I saw. I think there was a rat in the. I don't know if Sim had the Raven in opening hand, but
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. I could feel something coming, but anyway.
Wow, what a game.
Yeah. Well done.
What a
You
game.
pumped?
Yeah, definitely pumped.
Good. But yeah, it really well played, Gracklin, to come back. Honestly, one thing to do after all this and probably tomorrow, have a look back over it, because as well as you
first
did,
game.
there was no, on this one, there was
Oh,
one
yeah.
or two spots where you probably still missed out on 1 or 2 points as well.
Yeah.
It probably cost you a little bit. So definitely, but well done. And
Yeah.
what a tight game. Huge scoring, 117 to 116.
Yeah,
It's
you love
just
to see it.
crazy.
Good work.
Crazy.
All right. Are we ready to go into game 2 or into game 3? I should say. Do we need a change of underwear or something? Or I might. So
Plan.
Maybe
Have we got-
change of entire life, but
Yeah.
Have we got the ruling
yeah,
that
no,
points is what determines
Yes.
the third place?
Yeah.
indeed we do.
So
Go
Sim
first.
will be starting.
Sim will be going
Yeah.
first in game 3. So,
Cool.
if you're ready, I'm happy to kind of just go straight into this. If you need a couple of minutes,
Sure. Sim, did you have anything you wanted to say? You are on mute, your own little self mute. But if you want to say anything, you have the floor.
I thought I won at last, but
Yeah.
maybe some wrong calculation.
Nah, it was. I mean, it's always hard when you're on 116, 117 in regards to calculations and that sort of stuff. But it was a very tight game, obviously. So, but
Play against a Catbird and
yeah.
this one.
Well, we'll see. Sim, if you want to set up the last game, because you'll be going first, and we'll kick it off.
absolutely.
All right. Good luck to you both, and we'll both put you on mute and deafen again.
Sounds good. Cool. I think Sim, we did. Sim can't hear us. Oh. I was just going to Sim. I think we lost your stream just at the end of that game. So make sure you get that one up for us. But yeah, that's fine, Gracklin. We're not gonna say anything about the game yet because you can't hear us. So
I know. Both players can hear us.
yeah. Cool. All right.
Just waiting for Sim to share, and then we'll be back going again. There we go. All right,
Here
we'll
we go.
mute you both and deafen you both. Good luck.
Best of luck. And here we go. Let's get the stream up. Oh my god. So, into...
I'm so glad we got
Ooh,
game 3.
and here we go.
That is, I mean, you go from grassland
Yeah.
engine to forest egg engine. Look at this.
Yeah, and
Woo-hoo.
and how do you feel about that house finch into tray? Is this going to be a case for a forest house finch here, do you think?
Look, I'm not against it. I have to say, I am not against it. I'm interested to see what they do here. It's so natural to put that beautiful house finch in the
Right.
grassland, or the occasional time that you got a nice full tuck that you can do that. But you know what? I think you might be right, especially with the fact that you have the Merganser that is going to give you a lot of cards.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't like about the setup so far is that you have nothing for end of round 1. But that's it. That's the only thing I have against this.
Yeah, and at that point you're just nitpicking, so...
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. It's certainly, I think if the end of round goals weren't so egg heavy, I would be I would be seriously contemplating this house finch in the forest. You know, like you said, you've got the merganser. Even just on its own, you can have plenty of eggs from your 2 forest birds. So you know, you look to discard one of those. You're getting four cards. You keep 3, and then you just kind of run that forest, tuck some cards. You get 3 points along with those 2 eggs as well. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's one of those house finch, like you say, when you see it, your gut reaction is get that in the grasslands and just start hammering the eggs. That's kind of the most natural feeling. I guess Sim probably has a little bit of time here. You get the wetlands set up, you kind of draw some cards and see what you find, and you know, maybe if you get something good to go with it, you put it in the grasslands. But if you don't, I think the forest here is a really good shout.
Yeah, I don't even know that you need to like. So you ditch the first end of round. The Morning Dove's going to complete your second end of round. And then you can try and get a couple of big point grassland birds, you know, that might give you some bonus cards to get the filled columns, and then maybe the last couple of turns right at the end to get the last end of round. You're doing that. So I think they've got a really nice setup here. Yeah,
it's
to do the forest.
Exactly. It's so good as well. They can keep the worm and the seed here really easily. There's the fish and the bird feeder as well, so to get this merganser down isn't going to be a problem. So it's one of those where, and the chat is making this point as well, there's so many different ways you could play this in terms of what birds you prioritize getting down, where does this house finch go, you know, lots of kind of, you know, even the Morning Dove, maybe it can go in the wetlands, although I think in this case certainly the forest is the better choice. But there's lots of different options, and I think it's kind of one of those you've got to pick carefully, because once you commit to something, it's very hard to go back and change your mind on that.
But isn't this the perfect final game 3 of a best of 3? We get something a little bit complex that we can really, everyone can sort of sink their teeth into. This is great. Absolutely.
And like, all we can hope is that once Sim has put in these selections, that Gracklin also has a good start as well, so we can see a nice close fight. I mean, obviously, game 2, I had a feeling it was be close. Did not think it was going to come down to 1 point. Like you say, it's hard to get much closer than that. So yeah, I think if we have both players play into their best potential, which, you know, these are 2 of the best players on the server, so absolutely there's going to be some good Wingspan on display here.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you go here in the 2 bonus cards that Sim has? Would you, which was Prairie Manager and Wetland Scientist, which would you choose with this current setup?
I think you have to go Wetland Scientist. I think you already have the one towards it in that merganser, so you kind of look at both of them as, I need to get 2 more birds to meet the lower threshold, or 4 more birds to meet the higher one. Obviously, the Prairie Manager, you get that slight edge in that you get the extra point. But I feel like Wetland Scientist is just kind of easier with this setup. I think if there was no merganser, I might be tempted to go Prairie Manager. Because
I'm leaning towards Prairie Manager myself.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and the reason for that is I don't know how many times I'm going to be going down to the grasslands, the waterlands because of the merganser. So I might be pretty happy. Here we go. Indigo bunting.
Here we go. Now the bird feeder isn't great, but it kind of still works.
It is going to get rotated by what we already know that they don't know. But
oh yeah, this is perfect. Indigo bunting against a forest engine is as close to the dream for me as possible. So
I feel like I have seen that setup between you and Devim.
Yeah, that's why Devim doesn't like the bunting, because it's so good against his favorite setup. That's why he's not a fan. But oh man, I mean, this is a good start all in all. I mean, even the nuthatch and the blackbird as well, good options. Yeah, I'm not surprised to kind of see them.
I don't think I play the nuthatch here. I think I go bunting and then try and find something to put with the bunting, right? Try and go for grassland and.
Yeah, I mean, you want something to go with it, right? But I don't know. I mean, the nuthatch is good for obviously his first end of round goal. You can get it down easily with food from the bunting. True. I think, you know, my kind of take on the bunting, it's similar to with the towhee that we had that was game 2, wasn't it? You need something else to go alongside it. You can't rely on it as your sole food source. So if you get a crow or a hummingbird or a towhee or a nightingale, perfect. You're good to go. I think having some option of being able to get food in the forest and maybe some cash food as well through the nuthatch power I think that gives you a little bit more insurance in terms of being able to actually get access to food. And yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, we know that Sim is potentially going to go heavy on the forest here and rotate that feeder, but you don't always know that. And when you've just come off against 2 Raven games, you maybe in your head you're expecting the worst. So certainly having yourself that option of being able to rotate the bird feeder is never a bad position to put yourself in.
How strong is this bird going to be that's going to be revealed from the house
We'll see.
house finch?
Oh,
boo.
never mind. Well, are they going to go for the bullfinch? This is what I'm wondering. Yeah, here we go. So I quite like this. I think this is good for Gracklin. They get the bullfinch down. It gives you seeds and cherries, which is exactly the food you need to play this bunting. And then they can potentially use the bunting power to get the nuthatch down as well. So many options here. They can get a good setup in the forest and then also supplement that with the bunting and the grasslands. I think this is very, very nice. You don't sound convinced.
I'm not convinced because, yeah, you get the bullfinch and then the nuthatch, and then you have to get that to lay some eggs. I just don't feel like you're going to be using a nuthatch a lot. It seems to go against the indigo bunting.
I don't think it goes against it. I think in this position, you can use the bunting as a way of just supplementing. So it's a way of, okay, I have something in the grasslands where when I lay eggs, I maybe get a food. And so many times, particularly in that kind of round 2 going into the mid game, you find I just need 1 food. Like, I've got a couple of food to play this bird, I just need 1 more. If I can get that laying eggs with the bunting and then play the bird, I didn't have to spend a turn going to the forest, and now I potentially have the eggs as well to play this bird, or maybe the eggs as well are going to help for end of round goal. It just gives you that flexibility of being able to get food in different places.
For sure. No, I do agree with that. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And I think for Sim, it's kind of more straightforward here, right? You're going to just get this food. Obviously, they've already got the seed to play this morning dove. And yeah, get the food, play the Merganser and go digging. And then really it'll be interesting to see again whether they do look to get this housefinch down, if they go for the forest or the grasslands. That is really going to be their big decision point. Okay, so I'm going to be interested to see how Gracklin orders this. If they do lay eggs, yeah, I think this is the play. You lay the eggs, you get the nuthatch down, and suddenly you're getting 3 food, and that should give you enough to get the bunting down.
Majority of the time.
Yeah. The bullfinch is pretty good. I think it's like only 3% of the time it misses. So
you got 2 food.
Exactly, it works pretty well there. So if they do get the 3 food and they get the right 3 food, they can potentially play this indigo bunting, lay eggs, obviously help the end of round, and then maybe also get a worm to play this blackbird. Obviously the moment they've not got this wetlands and they're going to go into round 2 going first, so you want something there at least to give you an option of maybe getting some more cards.
Yeah, but you're going to need to lay eggs 1 more time to get this out end of round, though. And you've only got 4 turns left.
4 turns. Well, so, yeah, okay. So I think they will fall 1 turn short there.
Yeah, because you want to get the bunting down and then lay eggs.
Yeah, I think that has to be... I mean, if they get the cherry here, I think absolutely you go bunting. Obviously, if you don't get the cherry, I think that's where they might have to think a bit more carefully and maybe go for the blackbird and just lay eggs without getting the free food. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit suboptimal because you are going to miss out on the food that you could have got if you played the bunting first. But I think getting that wetland bird down, ready to go into round 2 is so important, because so many times we see, there's some good birds in the tray that you want to grab, and to just be taking 1 at a time is very, very slow.
Sure. However, it's not 4 points worthwhile.
No.
Right? Like, winning this first end of round to 0, it's not worth giving that up for.
No, potentially not, but there's the cherry.
Potentially not?
Well,
this is interesting. Do you potentially think that winning the end of round?
Oh no, I mean, winning the end of round, you win the end of round goal. You go for that regardless. It's a question of whether you play the bunting and then lay eggs, or whether you just lay eggs without the bunting at all and make sure you get the blackbird down. I think those are kind of the 2 options. The way it's set up here, is kind of the situation I was describing. You get the bunting down, you lay eggs, you get the worm from the feeder, hoping it's still there, of course, after your opponent goes for food here. Or never mind, that's going to change things. But yeah, I think this is an interesting divergence point. You know, do you go bunting or blackbird? I would probably be minded to go blackbird if it's me.
I would agree with you
and
in
get
this,
the bunting
but
down later. Oh, please don't put it in the forest. Okay. Oh, my life just flashed before my eyes. Oh, I nearly had a heart attack. Okay, good.
That's almost a forest raven move.
Yeah, I still have respect for you, Gracklin. But that was very close.
You almost lost all respect for the clan.
Yeah.
And trust me, from someone that knows, it's not a place you want to be on the server.
Absolutely not. No, not at all. But, yeah.
See, I agree with you here, right?
Yeah.
Now that the squiggly boy is not in the feeder and bunting can't get any food, there's no need for it to be there.
Exactly.
I agree with you. The blackbird and lay eggs without getting any food, because you're already laying eggs without getting any food, right?
Yeah. And like, now that you've revealed the bunting to your opponent, they can be a bit more careful with not leaving that food there. So, you know, Sim has got no incentive at the moment to reset that bird feeder. They can happily leave it. They've already got this house finch. They maybe want to play that first, go about doing other things. So, you know, I think for Gracklin, they might find that if they want to play this blackbird, they have to go for the forest action anyway and not use this bunting. So, yeah, it's a minor thing. I think I can completely understand. I see bunting, I want to play it, right? But the blackbird here, you know, Gracklin's kind of waving that around. That frustrating missing worm, I think, is going to really be, difficult to cope with for them.
And I think he might have thought about it afterwards, going, "Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I think I might have made a mistake.
Where's my worm? Where's my worm gone?" That's always the question. So, but yeah, it feels pretty open at the moment, right? Both players they're going to have fairly similar setups. So a couple of good forest birds, a good wetland bird, and then something in the grasslands as well to get you some points or some food. You know, that's kind of at a very high level. It's looking pretty even. So as always, it could come down to this tray in round 2, but that's maybe not necessarily so exciting to look at if you're Gracklin. So I think they can probably afford to just spend that extra turn, go for food, get the blackbird down, and then maybe start drawing.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that Gracklin at this point in time has nothing for the end of round.
Right.
Oof.
Ouch. That is not great. That's a bit better. Okay. I think that's workable, because now at least you've got a couple of food there that you can grab with the bunting if you wanted. So it gives you some options, but yeah, I think you probably still want to
do here, right?
I think you force it down, 100%.
Yeah,
I think you force it down and start digging, and hope you can get something good. I mean, you know, maybe that willet in the tray might be something I look at just as a cheap second wetland bird. You easily get the worm through that bunting power, and you save yourself some eggs when you are going for cards. But it's not
the worst bird with the wetland scientist for Sim either.
That's true. Yeah, they might look at it for the same reason as well. I can save a few eggs, so why not? Wouldn't be surprised. And again, they've already got the worm, so they've got the seed and the cherry for the house finch. But
and they don't need it for the house finch. It doesn't come at any other cost. Oh
exactly.
Man,
that catbird,
that catbird with the house finch, where you're getting 3 food, 2 tucks, and 2 eggs.
Yeah, that is so good. And, you know, already they kind of probably look at that feeder and think, well, there's a cherry and a worm there, so that's already 2 of the food that I could grab to get that down. Man, I think you know, as soon as you can use the house finch and the catbird and you just start tucking, you know, Sim's already got plenty of cards in hand that they maybe wouldn't look to play. Although Chiff Chaff, does that change your mind a little bit on where you go with this game?
No, not at all. 0% chance of changing.
You're not a Chiff Chaff fanboy.
Not a Chiff Chaff fanboy. What are you gonna do? What are you doing with the Chiff Chaff now?
Well, I mean, you've got lots of cards and you have good card source, so it's a shame that the Merganser is already there. I think if you could have the Chiff Chaff, then the Merganser, it works better. But
like So what? You're just going to tuck 2 cards per turn and try and completely change your game?
Yeah, I think in this
Please.
situation when you've got House Finch, Catbird, that is the natural thing to go for, right? You get both those down. You're getting loads of tuck cards, pretty easily cycling through, finding the cards you want to play, and then you want food. You go to that forest. You get 2 food and 2 eggs. Like that's very, very nice. Okay.
I really wish I had mod powers on your YouTube channel so I could put up surveys saying, is Flan on drugs, suggesting certain X card here. Yes, no,
Yeah, this is my domain, right? You have no authority here.
I really don't.
But yeah,
It would be fun though.
It would be fun, but it looks like I think Gracklin did go for the worm, so they were a little bit hesitant on overpaying with the Blackbird, which I can understand, but yeah, it's good to get that down.
I think it's a waste of turn though.
It potentially. Potentially.
You out of everyone talks about this the most.
Yeah.
Right? About not wasting turns. Now, they already had plenty of eggs there. They could have tucked and gained. And they're also going to gain eggs at the Blackbird. And then you're just going to be trying to get some food and then put down the second grassland bird before you're going to start doing anything more. I didn't like it. I would have forced it down there myself.
I think the priority has to be finding the platform nest right for the end of round goal. But I will stop talking about Gracklin because we have a Forest House Finch. And I did wonder, again, even with the Catbird, because that works pretty well. You get Catbird in the forest alongside this, you get 2 tucks, you get 2 eggs, and 3 food. So that at that point, you're just going to start digging. And there's the cherry you need, pretty easy. Yeah, I think you get these down. You've got a 4-point engine with 3 food, and you're just going to dig through the deck and see what you can find. And you're looking for, those whooping cranes, woodstocks, Atlantic puffins, meet your bonus card, get you some more bonus cards. That is, I think, what the game plan is going to be here for Sim.
But it is filled columns next, so you probably do want a couple of.
You want at least one. I think they're going to have to target that as okay, I'll qualify and get the points, but not win, because I think against Gracklin, Gracklin's always going to get 2 columns at least here. I don't really see.
Yeah, I don't. With 10 turns left. And
they'll need some doubles if they can get some double birds, right? That if they get Savannah Sparrow or House Wren or something like that for Sim, I think you could maybe look at being able to get a couple down there and at least competing there. But it's a nice setup. It's a nice setup for Sim. I think the thing I worry about here is that they are quite low on points. So you look at their board, right? You got 2 3-point birds, a 1-point bird, and a 0-point bird. I think on the board right now they might have about 15 points, which kind of coming into the late round 2 is not great. Now, obviously, with this setup and the huge number of points and food they're going to get, that is going to bring them back into this game. But you can often find, even with a good setup, if you get off to a slow start, you're kind of always chasing, you're always trying to catch up your opponent, and that can be quite difficult.
Yeah, but they do have a 4-point engine now, which is pretty early to have that, and it enables them to do so much.
Yeah.
This black turn's also really nice for Gracklin as the second water bird.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the better birds they could have picked up in this situation, right? Because you want 2 things. You want a second wetland bird, and you want something that hits the end of round. Well, there you go. I mean, you have to overpay a little bit, but you get that down, you lay eggs. I think
you
that
force
makes
it down
sense.
here if it's you, right?
100%.
I force this down.
Well, you have to, because you've only got 2 turns, so you play it and lay eggs.
Yeah, true.
Like that is going to be worth. You're paying 1 extra food, but you're getting 2 extra points from the end of round. I think that's worthwhile doing for me. You can still, even if you want to play the scaled quell, which I think Gracklin is thinking about. They got a lot of egg space. They're thinking about filled columns in the next end of round. You can pay a seed and a rodent to play this turn, and then you can use the extra seed for the quail. I think that feels pretty natural here. Okay. So what's Sim going for? Just food. The double card cycle here is going to be so strong, I think, for Sim.
Oh, nice.
We talk about the 4 points, but it's 4 points with a double card cycle, and that, like, when you've got a hand like this where you're maybe not going to play all of these birds. To be able to turn those 2 birds into some birds you might actually want to play.
None of them.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe the ash-throated flycatcher, you might save that later in the game. Maybe you get some some cavity nests. But yeah, the rest of them, I don't think you.
It's unlikely that the cavity nests are generally forest birds. Generally,
Yeah.
there's not that many that go in the grasslands.
You save it just in case. But yeah, most case scenarios with
Yeah.
this double card cycle, they'll find something better. But I think at the moment, with these 4 cards in hand, they can just cycle through this, look to find something for the wetlands. I mean, even like the collared dove they had last game, that would be perfect because they can have so much extra food. So
100%.
something like that they can try and find to get down and get some extra points. That's what it's all going to be about. So we'll see.
Yeah, 100%.
Bushy in the chat, this is like a supercharged wood duck. I kind of agree. You're not generating cards, right? But the weakness of the wood duck is that it doesn't get you points. Whereas here, you're looking at 2 new cards and you're getting 2 points for it. Like that is a super strong setup. And if it does eventually get to the point where Sim has got cards they want to play, well, you just take 1 turn drawing cards and you're getting 3 more. So that's going to give you another few turns to cycle through in the forest. Like that is a strong position to be in for sure.
Yeah, completely agree. And they don't even need the second water bird because they can just take it off the morning dove, which is probably going to get maxed out at some point.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think probably this common loon they might look to play anyway, even if they're not going to use the power. It's 6 points for 2 food, meets the wetland scientist. That feels like a nice play. You've already got the food for it, so I like this. And they can still win the end around, right? You got plenty of space on the morning dove.
So I wouldn't do this right now. The reason I suppose, because you don't actually need to take it off the morning dove. My bad. I didn't see that other egg.
No, I mean...
So I think you can do it, and you can just take it off the chipping sparrow there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, if you're Sim, your next 2 turns might be to play the loon and then go for food. Because if you go for food, you're still going to get the egg to win the end of round goal. If you're going to do that, you may as well go for food first, because maybe you find something better than this loon. Maybe you do find a puffin or a woodstock or something, and you can play that instead. I think this is right. I think going for the food first is the right call, just to see what you get, and maybe it's something better.
What do you think about that third bird, that European one that goes for based off eggs, like grassland and the cache?
I think they are thinking about it. They were kind of looking at it.
They were
thinking about it. It's gone now, but I don't know. I think if you were going to play it, this is the time to do it because you at least get 3 activations from it. I mean, how much food are you really, or I think it's cache food at least. You maybe get 2 or 3 around. So you're looking at maybe that's a 10-point bird. It's a good option.
Pretty strong.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the good thing about it is you don't need to do anything, right? It just gives you the points at the end of the round.
Yeah.
You don't have to have extra food, or you don't have to have anything. It just does
it. Right. And it goes in the grasslands, and they need some grassland birds, right? And at the moment, all they're picking up is brown powers, which they're not going to activate. So, like you say, having that kind of passive point generation, I can just leave that in the grasslands. I can go and do my thing, and that's still going to score me points. That's always a good option to have.
Yeah, I personally would like to see it kept because and potentially played before even the loon.
Yeah, I think so. I think you at least keep it. I'm surprised that they are keeping this dig sissel. Yeah, I can't really see that being an option later.
Used.
They've not got the cards. Agree. They've not got the card source right now. That night heron's pretty nice. You probably play that instead of the loon right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for, right? I mean, Sim, again, they gave us a little sneak peek of the score. I think winning this end of round goal, they might be on sort of mid to low 20s. And that is a little bit way off where you want to be, I think, after 2 rounds. So certainly the strength really is going to be, getting these big point birds. And I think, if they get this one down now, that's certainly going to bring them back into it in terms of points.
Yeah, one of the things I've really liked what Sim's done so far this game is completely depower the bunting. They've just always made sure that there's basically not been anything in there. Every time that Gracklin's gone for the eggs, they've not taken food.
Exactly. And I think Sim is in that kind of position where you can afford to do that because at the moment they're not looking for specific food. And when you're gaining 3 a turn, it doesn't matter what you gain. You can force anything down. So, if you have to take a few extra worms or cherries that you don't need, fine. You can overpay a bit, but if that's stopping your opponent getting that food through the bunting and being able to reset that feeder as well potentially, then yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's a really smart play.
Yeah, completely agree.
Okay, so the loon is still going down. I would imagine they're both going to go down. Probably.
Yeah, I can't imagine that 900 not going.
Oh, well, there's the whipping crane. That's what you're looking for.
Huge.
Yeah, no brainer. I think. Grab that, get that down. Yeah, that's 2 huge point birds for your wetland scientist as well. So yeah, and fish crow as well. Smart denial. Smart denial here.
Smart denial. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Do you activate the loon here?
It's a difficult one. I think I probably do. I think
I do.
I think Sim needs the
I think
cards
it's more
more.
valuable.
Yeah, I think Sim needs the cards more at this point than Gracklin. So I would. Oh yeah, they both benefit from it. So I think at the moment, you look at Gracklin from Sim's perspective. Going for cards is a good point scoring option for them anyway. So it doesn't make sense to think about, I should not give them a card and force them to use their wetlands, because he still gets a couple of points and that extra card cycle through the black turn. So yeah, I don't think there's any issue here with giving away some extra cards.
They didn't. They denied it. I don't know.
They
I'm sure
didn't.
if you saw that. They did deny.
Well,
it.
there you go. They did
But
manage
they
to
did
find
pick up
that, what is it?
Another big
ibis. Is it the ibis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yep.
That's your wetland scientist done.
Yep.
Get all those down.
And you've still got 2 cards to tuck.
Yes.
The Inca Dove actually starts
being
pretty nice with some of the other birds that are around as well.
I agree. If you get this night heron and this ibis down, you're gonna have 3 platform nests, which then becomes 4 when you play the dove. So yeah, that feels like it's worthwhile doing if you're going to get eggs and points and end of round points as well. Pretty nice as well. Now, if I'm Gracklin, I'm probably going to try and get rid of that little bastard, because that feels like a good option for Sim as well. Egg cannon. Maybe not the time for the egg cannon, but bastard certainly.
Not the time of the moment.
Bastard, I think, is a good pickup there. I like that.
Yep, completely agree.
Yeah, it's a tricky position here for Gracklin, purely because of this bird feeder. They're going to need to go for cards, or they're going to need to go for food, I should say. Reset that. Obviously, it's not a bad action in its own right. You get 3 food potentially, as well as that cash food. But I do kind of worry that no matter what state they leave it in, it's just going to get completely ruined whenever Sim goes for food next.
Yeah, definitely. When they're able to get 3 food, that's pretty much always going to be rotating the feeder.
Yeah, it's very, very strong. So looks like Gracklin is kind of debating this partridge. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I think when you've got the quail, I like the quail. I think you can still make that work even at this point in the game. I think the partridge
considering
is
you can just put it down,
exactly.
You don't even need to worry about food. You can just do it.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the play. So yeah, for Sim, it's pretty straightforward, right? You look to get these.
I don't think it is
birds.
super straightforward. You want to get a couple of those big points birds down, but you want to leave yourself enough turns to play the Inca Dove as the last one, so that you can get the night heron and the ibis down, and then are laying eggs on them at the same time. And you can just leave the whooping crane till it lasts. Right? That could be your last bird that you put down in round 4. I wonder if maybe the only thing that's on Sim's mind is, what if I find a blue heron or an egret or something? Like, those are the birds you're looking for when you have great access to food like this, and obviously they help the bonus card. So, again, this is kind of a topic that comes up in that, like, do you take the safe play and play something you've got now, or do you kind of gamble and hope that save that space for something else that you might find from the deck? It's a pretty nice spot to be in to say, is the safe play playing the 9-point bird or looking for an 8-point bird with a bonus card?
Exactly. First world problems.
But yeah, definitely. For me, I just get the night heron. I get the food for the night heron, and I'm tucking the fish crow.
It looks like that's the plan. So try and get as many fish as possible. Are they going to leave the worm? I think that's what they're thinking about. Yeah, it's only one, and then your opponent still can't reset after that. So, yeah, I think probably the hawk, like the hawk and the fish crow, are probably both going to go if they get something better here. So, oh, now there you go. That's a good option.
A nice bird.
Yeah, that can be your grassland bird now, and suddenly Sim might be able to actually tie on the end of round goal. Oh no, not the dove. Are they going to get rid of
I'd be getting rid of the fish crow. I don't understand why you're keeping the fish crow.
I don't think you need the fish crow. Like, they can't be thinking about late game grassland pivot with this setup. Like, that is not. No. You don't need the food.
You just
from
don't
the fish
need
crow.
to.
No, I think the dove. You keep that just in case you get the extra platform nests, but it has gone. Yeah, the swift is kind of perfect. I think that's a good bird to get down.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they're like. Why they're keeping that fish crow? It just seems so superfluous for their setup.
Yeah, I think like if they had like omnivore expert or like fishery manager or something, like if it was good for a bonus card, I might understand it. But in this position, I'm with you. I think I'd look to keep that dove. Certainly, feels like more potential. Maybe you play it this round, or maybe you save it and you get even more platform nests in the final round and get a big point play at the end. I don't really see where the fish crow is going to fit in here.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I guess if you're not going for if you've not got the dove, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Sure.
You probably want to play the whipping crane so you get that bonus card and you know what you're looking for in the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It's a tricky position here for Gracklin, right? We talked a lot about Sim, but it looks to me like they're not really developing the board in any way since like the middle of round 2.
They're playing the next 2. Yeah, no, they haven't. But they've got two grassland birds to go.
I think that's going to be the play.
Nice.
Yeah, you get these 2 down. Probably you go for the card here. I think you get the choice of the card. Oh, that's rough. But actually, oyster catcher. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Well, it works with the bonus card you just drew.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You pick up a 0-point bonus card, and it's a frustration. But that's the kind of advantage of that busted power is that okay, well, I just looked at a bonus card, and now I can pick up a bird from the tray that meets it. So, yeah, I like that, and hopefully. If they can, get the reset on this bird feeder through the bunting, get some more worms, play that. I like that. I think that's a strong option.
Yeah. Yeah. Good thing is I can still just get a scaled quail down straight up.
Yeah, exactly. They've still got the seed, and then now you're getting 4 points and a food from your grasslands. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't mind that. And then it's just about what you can hopefully get with the oyster catcher, or maybe some other birds come up in the round 4 tray that you look to play. There we go. That's the puffin that you're looking for. So, yeah, ibis in the bin now.
I'd still tuck the fish crow, but
I think so,
just because.
Yeah.
It seems odd that they've fallen in love with this fish crow, but
I agree. But certainly, puffin.
Ooh, that could be a nice.
Maybe.
Actually,
I'm not sure they're gonna have the cards for it.
No. I was thinking like I was liking it as like an end of Forester finish, but you don't have any Forest birds up there if you get Forester.
No, exactly. No, unless they pull like Rodentologist or Falconer or something. I don't really see them trying to play that. I think they could if they do play it. It's probably better to use the food because I think food is much easier for them to get hold of right now than cards. So, yeah, I think probably.
Do you think Sim's considering the fish crow here to tie end of round?
I think so, but if you were going to do that, why not go with the dove? I don't know. I guess in this setup, the way it's been played, the fish crow gets more points than the dove would have done. And obviously, if they do tie the end of round, that's worth 3 more points. So suddenly, that's a 9-point fish crow, which is pretty good.
And one of the better bonus cards that they could pull with one of their 2 bonus card birds that they've still got left is Omnivore, and then that makes it even stronger.
Well, Omnivore or Fishery Manager, you get
that works to both.
Exactly, yeah. So that's probably what they're going to look for. But this is interesting. So Gracklin going for the eggs before playing the quail. Now, do you think they're like worried about not getting the worm to play this oyster catcher and kind of desperately went for the eggs there, or do you think at this point is it too late to look at playing the scale quail?
I would have played the scale quail. I don't think you have a lot else going for you. You need to get up for bird, grassland engine as well. I would have done it.
I think I would have considered it as well, and I think particularly as well when you think about, okay, if their plan right now is to play the scale quail and then the oyster catcher, they only need one more forest bird and you get 6 points off ecologist. And there's a lot of good birds you could find to play there, and even birds that beat the food web expert, right? You've got those warblers, even putting those to a side, you've got some good bonus card giving birds. You play those with the food you get from the bunting. That isn't going to work if you don't have the scale quail.
So you've got rodentologist.
Yeah, that's the rodentologist. I don't know what the other one was.
That?
No idea. But I think rodentologist is the straightforward pickup because you're going to play that night heron anyway. So that's going to get you points. But
yeah, and there's a few other big point birds.
So we do indeed have this oyster catcher being forced down. And let's have a look.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's not what you want to see. 3 wetland birds. I
didn't feel like that needed to be rushed. I think that the quail could have gone down, getting some food out of the bunting.
Yeah.
And then it could have gone down at a later point.
Yeah,
I think they're not useful at all.
I can understand wanting to get the oyster catcher down as soon as possible because you want to see those cards to make sure that you know what food you're looking for. So from that perspective, I can understand it, but I think I do agree with you. I think it feels like this grasslands is a little bit underpowered. You go into that final round. If your best point scoring option is to lay eggs for 3 points, it's so difficult to compete with this setup that Sim has got. He's just playing big point after big point bird. Suddenly I need food. Well, I'm going to get 4 points while getting that 3 food, and I'm already scoring more than you there. So, it's a tricky one here to fight back from. I think for Gracklin.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm pretty comfortable in saying that I think the Sims got this one.
It does seem to be the case. I think they're already in the lead in terms of points, and then obviously they've got these huge point bombs to get down. That puffin is going to give them another bonus card. They're going to max out the wetland scientist. They'll get a couple from rodentologist. So they've got some real big point plays up their sleeve going into this final round. And you look at what Gracklin has got, and it's just not really coming together for them at the moment.
Yeah, completely agree.
Right, eggs.
They're also running out of egg spaces as well.
Eggs are going to be a problem, right? They've only got 8 spaces now, so that you lay eggs twice, and then the third time you run out of space. So.
And they've got 5 turns left, and what else they got to do?
What else? I wonder if they're going to have to draw cards once. So.
Did they just skip that?
The
Sim
the
just
Swift?
skipped. Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm very surprised at that.
I don't
I
get
would have
that.
discarded those two squiggly boys.
Well, you discard. Yeah, ignoring everything else, you discard at least one because you only need one to play the night heron. So yeah. I think
you got such a nice
exactly. You got loads of food. You got loads of food and loads of access to food that I think you have to get rid of it there. But Gracklin is indeed going for cards. And okay. Well, if you played the scaled quail, that woodpecker suddenly becomes the final ecologist bird. So that's the kind of bird I was talking about before. Obviously, it's still a nice option to have now. You easily get the worm, hopefully on the reroll. From the bunting, and you play that, and then maybe you still have enough space to just lay eggs twice. But again, it's pretty slow, and Sim is just going to leave this bird feeder not with the worms, which is a shame. But I still don't get not getting rid of the worms for Sim. I think they're still going to have. They might even end up with more than 5 at the end of this round, and then not be able to discard all of them.
Very easily end up with more than 5.
Yeah. But like you say, I do have a feeling it's probably not going to matter.
No. At least you can't say we're commentators on the football. We're like, next goal is interesting.
Yeah.
It's 4-0 already.
Yeah. It's probably curtains, but there you go. if you're in Gracklin's position, you can still only do. You can do your best. You can make the most of the food that you're getting here. So maybe they can have enough to get 2 birds down and max out, or at least get
and then
6.
one turn.
Yeah, I think they just about have enough to get this ecologist. But yeah, it's such a shame. It felt like a nice setup, but going from round 2 into round 3, that's the critical point where you want to get everything together in a nice way to score points in the final round, and it does kind of feel like it fell a little bit flat there. But for Sim, just go heavy on these bonus card birds, right? It's painted bunting. That's a very nice option to have here.
I probably don't play the bunting right now. I probably try and make sure I max out the other two, the wetland scientists.
Yeah,
first.
I think that's your priority, for sure.
They're much bigger birds.
Yeah.
You've only got 4 turns left.
Yeah.
So do you really want to use one of your 4 turns to do this? For me, I'd get done get done the puffin and
I'm with you.
The...
Absolutely. Because you want to play those 2 because they're already big point birds in their own right, but together they get you 5 more points from Wetland Scientist, the Heron gets you 2 more points from the Rodentologist, and the Puffin gets you another bonus card. Like that's like 20, 25 points from 2 birds, whereas this bunting is maybe going to be like, you get 4 now, and even if you get a really good bonus card, that's only 10, so you still aren't going to get as many as you could have done by trying to get the 2 wetland birds down first. But is that a nest type one, or is that citizen scientist? I don't even know anymore. No, it can't be. I have no idea what that bonus card is, but they got some points from it, so they'll be happy with that. Yeah, I honestly have no clue what that bonus card is. Can't even remotely try and work out which one it is, but there you go. All right. Do we still have Chop? I don't know if I've still got Chop.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh,
I'm still here. I'm still here.
You're just soaking it all out. You're getting out your English to Mandarin dictionary, all right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I was actually trying to work out what that bonus card was, but when you can only see a small part of it, it's very, very difficult.
Exactly. They score points from it. That's all that matters, I think. So
yeah.
It looks like they will still have enough here, I think, to be able to get down these 2 wetland birds. But now you're not going to leave yourself with any worms to discard with the Swift. So suddenly that Swift, it helped the end of the round, but you've not really made most of the power when it had certainly some potential there.
Yeah, especially when you had such a strong forest engine. So, I just look. Painted bunting's fine. I would have been looking at playing that for my last play if I had the food and I could work out, okay, this is going to be 4, it's worth more than doing anything else. But if that had a bombed, it was only worth 4 points.
Yeah.
Take away food, and the forest is already worth 4 points. So was it really the best play? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think you get the 2 wetland birds down first, and then see what you can go for maybe later with the bunting. But is that oologist? I think it might be. So oologist or something else that they're blanking on again. So that is not ideal, because again, if they, if
that held it on the bunting.
Yeah, because now you're on your last turn. You want to play this night heron, because it gets huge points.
2 bigger points.
I don't think you can make. Even if you laid eggs and maxed out Orologist, I don't think you'd get as many points as you would by playing this Night Heron. I think that's what they're kind of working out. It's an 11-point
play.
Yeah, exactly.
And the other one's 3 more plus.
Yeah, it's if the Night Heron is 7 points on its own plus 2 for the Ornithologist, so it's 9, and then another 4 from the Wetland Scientist. So that's 13. Like even if you max out,
no way.
Yeah. That's a horrible position, because you want to do both of those things, but now you've only got 1 turn left, so you don't really have much choice there.
No, you don't. You just have to take it down. Do you know what I've seen? I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it might have been you, or it might have been Vim that actually just declined the 0-point bonus card.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I've done that before. But that's like, if you do that last turn and you draw a blank, then. Yeah, it's like a protest or something, but was that bird counter. So that's 4 points for Gracklin on the bonus card, which is pretty good. Suddenly that snow bunting looks even better than it already did. So don't mind that. And yeah, Night Heron goes down for the big points, which is very, very good indeed. So
and you tuck one.
So I am gonna cover up Sim's score so we can watch the count up.
Yeah, me too.
So
I just
you could join me in this.
Time.
We'll get a bit of tension as we see the scores count up. So
I mean, I think the last one would have been better to do this. I think that's a bit more tension in the last game.
Yeah, I don't think any huge surprise. And yeah, that lead at the bonus
21.
cards as well. Yeah.
22-point lead after the bonus cards.
Yeah, obviously the eggs, I think Gracklin is going to edge, but then it's the tuck cards. The tuck cards
just goes crazy.
Yeah, and there we go. So congratulations to Sim. 102 points to 86 in the end. And yeah, a very good set of 3 games, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Was there anything you wanted to say before we brought the players back into it?
I don't think so. I think I'm happy to get them back in and give them a grilling in the nicest possible way.
Welcome back. Congratulations, Sim. Another tournament win.
And thanks.
It was a really, like, it was cool just to see something a bit different, right? Like, I mean, it was given to you there with the chipping sparrow and the mourning dove, and then the house finch to start. But it was cool just to see a different style.
I think I never played that before.
Yeah.
I decided to give it a try.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you might as well try something new and that you haven't done before in game 3 of a tournament game. You know, like, if there's any time to try it, it's now.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, when we saw that house finch come up and obviously the strong forest, we thought, is it going to be the forest or is it going to be the grasslands? Like, your first instinct is always to put it in the grasslands, but certainly looked like it paid off there. But yeah, Gracklin, will come over to you, of course. Commiserations first of all, but you did yourself absolutely no shame. I think they're a really strong game. Just kind of struggled a bit with the bunting, which for me personally, of course, was very sad to see.
No, yeah. There were a couple times where I made sort of small blunders with the bunting. I could have taken different food to make it difficult for Sim to make it so the bunting wasn't productive. I think I made a number of mistakes there in the early game, and then there's a bit of demoralization that sets in. But definitely, it wrapped up better than it could have, and it was beautiful to watch Sim's engine coming online. Honestly, yeah, this was. I'm just sort of happy to be here and be able to see some awesome play about as up close as you can possibly get. So
no, absolutely,
yeah,
and
definitely we'll handle there. And
yeah, it's, I mean, even getting to the final is a difficult one. You know, we had nearly 80 players in this tournament, so getting to the final and coming up against a 6-time champion and losing, I don't think there's any real shame in that. So
you went 11-3 for the tournament, so you didn't exactly go.
Exactly.
It was a pretty good tournament for you.
You take that
for sure.
All right, I think.
So, but well done to both of you.
Yeah.
Congrats, Sim.
Absolutely. I think
Well done,
we
Sim.
will wrap this one up. So yeah, congratulations, of course, to Sim for the victory. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Certainly a good set of games, some real good Wingspan on display, and a real nail-biter in Game 2, which you want to see. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed watching. And if you're not part of the Discord, please do come and join us. You can take part in some amazing tournament games like this one. And yeah, do stick around as well for future live streams. We still have the Blue Tip Bash ongoing, as well as the most recent Wingspan Premier League, which is Chop's little baby, or should I say ginormous baby, because that is one monster of a tournament.
Monstrous, yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you again, everyone, for watching, and we will see you again in the next